All right, so Apple went ahead and did it. They finally added something we've been asking for years. So as you know, Apple announced the new iPhone 16, 16 Pros, new AirPods, Apple Watch. We're gonna talk about all of that, but let's start with the new iPhone 16. So the iPhone 16s come in a few new colors. We got the typical black, white, pink, ultramarine, which looks awesome, and teal. Whoo, baby. If you don't know, I'm a teal fiend, and this teal and ultramarine also, they look so clean. It's got this nice and smooth matte finish on the back, and it comes in the typical sizes, 6.1 inch, as well as 6.7 inch for the 16 Plus. Now, the 16 and the 16 Plus are going to have the action button, the same action button we saw introduced with the iPhone 15 Pros, and now you get all of those same features, being able to map your flashlight, or maybe a shortcut, or even using it to silence your phone. Whatever you want to do with it, it is now on the 16 models, so it is across all models. Now, something new that's coming to all of the models that we've been waiting for years is the camera control button. And in typical Apple fashion, they didn't just want to add a second action button. They wanted this button to have quite a bit more functionality than just being able to press it. So it's a physical button, but it also has touch sensitive features. So as the name implies, when you press the button, it'll open up the camera app. And within the camera app, you can go ahead and press the button again to snap photos. But here's the kicker. Not only do you have those physical button presses, but you also have the ability to use gestures. So swiping up and down, you can do different things like zoom in, zoom out, change your depth of field, change the tone of your photos. There's a lot of options. It's a little funky getting into it. It's gonna take some getting used to it, I can tell. But the way I found that works well is you keep your finger on the button and then you do a light press twice and you get access to this menu, which basically gives you like pro level features that are all controllable right from the app. Now, I like that because it's gonna make jumping into those settings a little bit easier. It might feel a little weird doing it with the thumb in vertical mode. It definitely feels like a feature meant for landscape. And it feels very pro-like, but it's on the 16 model, so I'm glad to see it there too. But I wish this was the perfect opportunity to see like Touch ID come back. That would have been nice. Now let's talk about the cameras. In the back, we've got two lenses. We've got a 48 megapixel fusion camera. And with that, you'll be able to do that optical like zoom in where you can kind of use it like a telephoto. And it also has a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera lens. Now with this ultra wide, we're gonna get autofocus, which is nice if you want to use it for macro shots. And with both of these cameras, you are going to be able to take spatial photos. So if you want to take your photos over to your Apple Vision Pro, if you got one of those, you'll be able to take your spatial photos and view them on there. And the last bit of hardware for the 16 is it did get a big spec bump. It is now using the A18 Bionic. It skipped a generation, and that is of course so that it can handle all of the tasks that Apple Intelligence is going to require power for. We'll talk about Apple Intelligence a little bit later, but if you want to use all of Apple's new AI features, you're gonna need a better chip. So this got a nice boost in power. So lots of cool stuff with the 16. But let's talk about the 16 Pro. Now, the 16 Pro is going to come in 4 different colors. We're gonna have that natural titanium, black titanium, which is a darker black, white titanium, which is brighter, and we're also getting a new desert titanium. So that's pretty much like your gold. I'm surprised they didn't do a different color. Like natural titanium and desert titanium, it's a little too close for me. We need a blue in there somewhere, Apple. I'm gonna say right here, we need more fun colors on the Pro models. Teal would have been like, teal's calling my name, but it's on the regular, so it's tough. But either way, colors aside, the Pros got some pretty new changes actually. They're bigger. So now instead of a 6.1 inch display, we're looking at a 6.3 inch display. And instead of a 6.7 inch display with the Pro Max, we're looking at a 6.9 inch display. That's a pretty sizable difference. And overall, it makes the entire phone a little bit larger. So you'll have a longer phone. In my time with it, it didn't seem to make it much harder to reach the top. I'm used to finagling the Pro Max so that I can get to the corners. And it still seemed fine. Not to mention, they were also able to get to these numbers by decreasing the bezels ever so slightly. But we do have to see how that impacts daily usage, especially if you start thinking about throwing a case on there.
Oh, take case of the slider, I assume.
Oh, right. They're gonna have to make a cutout for that camera control.
Pretty big cutout.
But you know what, we'll find the best accessories and we're gonna have a video probably link down below when that comes out and we get our hands on the new phones. Now, of course, the 16 Pro models are absolutely going to have those camera controls, so that camera control button is going to be there. And speaking of camera control, let's talk about those cameras. So as you'd expect, we've got those 3 cameras, but very nice addition here is a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. Dying to see what low light performance is gonna be like, because that's where they always suffer. But the ultra wide is getting upgraded to 48 megapixels, so those macro shots, wide angle shots, all of that should be improved. And of course, we still have our 48 megapixel wide angle lens and our 12 megapixel 5x telephoto lens. Now, what's going to be great here is the camera is going to be a bit more capable, especially if you care about video. So we're gonna be seeing 4K up to 120 frames per second. Basically, guys, what that means is we're gonna get really nice slow-mo from these cameras now at the highest quality. It's even going to have like a dedicated section while you're editing the video, so you can pick the speed that you want. They also added advanced audio capture. I believe that you can capture spatial audio now. And they also made it easy to change the kind of audio right from the Photos app. So if you edit your video, you can change the way that sound is output. So for us as video creators, excited to try out some of that stuff. Oh, low key, I don't know how many people actually heard about this, but you can pause video now while recording. So if you want to record, pause, and then get back and continue shooting, that's nice. I love that.
2015 Samsung Galaxy S5.
Oh, okay. Let's quiet the Galaxy talk here. That's probably why they didn't talk about it during the keynote, but I'm glad it's here. And inside we got a couple of spec bumps too. We got Wi-Fi 7 support, but more importantly, we've got the A18 Bionic Pro, which is gonna help with all of the Apple Intelligence that we're gonna see on these phones. So let's talk a little bit about Apple Intelligence, right? Apple Intelligence largely feels like the same that we've heard about from WWDC. If you didn't hear about all of the cool features that are coming to the iPhones, like 15 and up, I'm going to have that video linked down below. It has all of the features, but one thing that they're adding that they didn't talk about before was visual intelligence. So visual intelligence, if you're familiar, think Google Lens. If you're not, basically you're going to be able to point your camera at something interesting and it is basically going to be able to tell you more details about it. So if you're passing by a store, you'll be able to just pop open your camera, use visual intelligence, and it's going to pull up info about the store, maybe a menu if it's a restaurant, hours when it's open, all that good stuff right from the phone without having to do like a Google Map search or something. That's gonna be fun to test out during the real day in the life when we review the phones, just to see just how many things it can identify and give us information about that is in our world. So that's going to be really interesting. I think another really interesting piece for Apple Intelligence is just how personal Siri is gonna get and how much smarter Siri is gonna get. I'm excited for Siri to get smarter, but being able to have a smarter Siri that uses the context of what's going on your phone with your personal data that it has access to, that all lives on the device, it's gonna be cool. Now with that A18 Bionic Pro, not only are we gonna get all those AI features, we're gonna get better battery life, so it's going to be more efficient. Apparently, the iPhone 16 Pro Max has the best battery life ever on an iPhone. I'm ready. The iPhone 13 Pro Max was a beast, and I'm ready for something to give me a similar experience from that. So those are iPhones. Let's talk about everything else they announced, AirPods being one of them. So AirPods got some pretty decent announcements. So we've got new AirPods 4. They come in this super tiny case. It's the smallest AirPods case ever, I believe. Now, not only did Apple change the case, but they made some physical changes to the design of the AirPods 4. They have like a huge database of ears, and it is made to be more comfortable and sit in more ears. From my brief time with it, your boy is cursed. They sat in well, but I could tell it wasn't going to last. My ears sloped downward, so probably not gonna work out for me. Apple, add me to the database, please. My ears are ready. They're waiting to be added to the pool. And now it features the H2 chip, And with that H2 chip, you'll be able to locate the case. I believe it also has the speaker so that you can find it. It's not gonna give you that precision tracking like you have with the AirPods Pro 2s, but you are going to be able to locate the case as well as the earbuds separately. Now, they added noise canceling, but there will be a version that doesn't have noise canceling. It's gonna cost $50 less. So the regular one's gonna cost $129, while the noise canceling version is gonna be $179. Now, Apple's always really health focused, right? And they added this test now where it can detect if your ears have hearing loss. And because these earbuds are so powerful and they're able to do so much with active noise canceling and transparency, they've got this hearing prevention mode where if there's really loud sounds or you're in a really loud environment, think a concert or something, you can wear them and it'll basically allow you to hear everything pretty loudly, but it'll bring the volume down just a bit so it's to a point where it's not damaging your hearing. Now, AirPods Pro is adding a mind-blowing feature, hearing aid. So now it is going to be like an over-the-counter hearing aid. And basically, after you do your hearing test, the AirPods will know which frequencies you are having a harder time hearing and boost the volume for those frequencies to give you better overall hearing. And that's mind-blowing because there are a lot more people suffering from hearing loss than I think we're aware of. And having that feature is going to be pretty beneficial to a lot of people, especially if you always going, huh? What? And they didn't forget about the AirPods Max. It's got new colors and it's got USB-C. And the last thing to talk about is the new Apple Watch. Now, I wasn't expecting this, but the Apple Watch Series 10 has a flatter design, but also a larger screen. Larger than the Apple Watch Ultra 2, which a beautiful big display. Series 10 has an even bigger display. And it also has improved speakers. So now if you wanna listen to Spotify or you wanna listen to music right on your watch, it should provide a better overall experience. Now we've got the regular aluminum design, but we also have this polished titanium, which is similar to that stainless steel look, but it's titanium, so it's lighter. And that polished titanium is of course gonna come in the 3 typical colors you'd expect. Now, Apple's already talked about a lot of the cool features coming to Apple Watch, but one though that is new and actually really dear to me is a sleep apnea feature where the watch is going to be able to detect. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm dealing with sleep apnea, which is pretty bad. It has a host of problems that it can cause over time with hypertension, grumpiness throughout the day because you're not really getting good sleep. And it's basically, you're not breathing while you're sleeping. And she complains about it all the time and says I need to get checked out. Anyway, now we're going to be able to get data right on our Apple Watch. We're also going to be seeing that feature come to the Apple Watch Ultra 2, which is great. Apple Watch Ultra 2 is also getting a slight update with the new black titanium, which everybody was begging for. It's finally here, so we're gonna be getting that. And from my time checking it out, guys, it looks so clean. So there's gonna be new metal bands for the new colors as well as a new black titanium Melanese loop, which is more of a mesh loop. But all in all, guys, that's pretty much been the Apple event for today. Now I gotta find a way to get my hands on these. Later.